सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय, महायोगी स्वामी उमानंद सरस्वती की जय। Today we are starting with next 4 questions on Siddha Yoga. When do we actually start our spiritual journey? The day you start realizing what has brought you on earth, what is the reason behind you on earth, being on earth. There must be some reason. The moment you start pondering on it, you might have started your journey on spiritual path. Of course, when we go to our Guru, we do start the journey, but sometimes when we go, it is only to some challenge, because of some frustrations and challenges in life, we tend to take support. And then when the problems are over, we start keeping away from the Guru, the Master. But then there are some who keep on going back again and again because they feel that this is a good path. Of course, the journey continues then. And during the journey, so one fine morning, you tend to realize, Guru has some big role in my life. I wonder what sort of a role I have in this world. That becomes your starting point of the journey. What is your role? Are we here accidentally? No. All of us have come down with a purpose. Maybe it is to continue our journey on enlightenment, path of enlightenment. Maybe it's a journey for self-realization. Maybe it is a journey to clear away some of our dues of the past life. Whatever the reason is, but enlightenment is definitely one of the reasons why a man is on earth. The other day I was also wanting, just as a Guru and Shishya, a disciple and a Guru come together, even married couples, it's not an accidental situation. They are brought together by destiny to attain a higher goal of realization in their world. Just like a Guru and Shishya need to take lessons, the Shishya needs to take lessons from the Guru, and the Guru needs to dedicate his life in trying to enrich the life of the devotee. Similarly, in a life, a married life, in a couple, in a family life, we all members who come together, the children, the parents and all, they are all together in order to attain the final realization state. So there might be a few little unpleasant situations happening, but they are bound to happen because both need to develop perfection. Between Guru and Shishya, comparatively, the clashes are not there because there is one perfect person and one needs to be perfect. Whereas in a family life, both parents and the grandparents and the children, they may all be imperfect. So there are likely to be clashes. But if they understand that these are just trying to chisel away the unwanted situations of their families and help them to go towards light, then they won't break up the whole thing. They will not get separated. So because none of us are on earth because of some accident. It's not an accidental visit. It is a designed life for all of us. Well, when do we start our spiritual journey? So we start when we start realizing, why are we here on earth? And of course, it may not be this clear a question. It may be just a more casual sort of an understanding, but you may want to be curious. What is there in store for me, or what will your future be? The other day at LA, when I had addressed a crowd on Diwali day on light, what is light? I had told them that light, it means that you are now wanting to know what are you doing on earth. Then how to discover it? Sometimes they are in the family background. If there is a family of doctors, the children are bound to become doctors. If there are families of the architect, the children are. So somewhere in the family background, a bit of your future is already stated to you. It is stated in your birth dates also. So what are you designed for? Like a January person might end up in research, a February person might end up with executive activities. He will be actually active in executive world. March will be a philosopher. April might end up as a statesman. May might end up as a very good family man, or let's say he is a good lover. June might be a critic, a lawyer. July will be an organizer, a composer. August will be very friendly. He is a friend of the people. September is a teacher. October is a host, a very good host. November is a humanitarian. And December is a manufacturing. He is a part of a manufacturing unit. So these are just in date of births and months. These are month records. And again dates also, individual dates born on 1st. He is like S-O-N, son of a son, S-U-N, son. It means he will be aspiring for something very high and may reject dominance. Then second is a moon quality, might be an artist born on 2nd. Born on 3rd is a man who is a go-getter. He goes and has it his way. Then this is how roughly your future is almost told. Then it also reflects through your qualities, which you have qualities in you. You might have a very good powerful power of speech. You may end up with an oratory. You might have a very powerful sense of understanding. You might end up into a scholarly, learned person. So these are some qualities which help you to know what you are here. But definitely there is one final reason for all of us to be on earth. It is to really get enlightened or walk towards realization, state of realization. Whether you are a married man, whether you are a single bachelor, whether you are a family man, or you are a student at the feet of Guru, the purpose is that you need to get enlightened. You need to know what is the bigger cause, the higher cause of your life. And where does it end? The question follows is, where will this journey end? Of course, in a state of enlightenment. It ends in the state of enlightenment. So you don't have to feel, I have started the journey. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks Krishna, what if I have started the journey, a spiritual journey, and what if my life is short and I die before I attain it? Krishna gives a very beautiful answer. He says, don't worry. In your next birth, you will be born in a family which will help you, be a supporting family, which will support you to continue your journey, which was half finished in the earlier past. That's why it is very essential, if you believe in rebirth, the rebirth also is there to complete the journey, the earlier journey. If you have not completed, you have not attained realization, you are given again a chance. As long as your activities, your software has been wanting to get enlightened and the journey is not complete, then in the next life you are given suitable circumstances which will help you to complete your journey. We call that person yoga bhrashta. That means he is again back into another family. Probably in my last birth I might not have completed my spiritual journey. So in this birth I was given a birth in a family where my father was a very highly qualified person and my mother was a very staunch devotee of her guru. So somewhere the family gave me a background in which my personal pursuit continued right from the time I was only 10 years old. So it's a very it's a normal system. So when you are on your journey, you must realize that this journey ends only when you get enlightened. Then you have, who is an ideal disciple? It's a very sweet question. Who is an ideal disciple? In the ashram, we used to all have a competitive mindset that we would like to be the best devotee of the Guru. I will tell a very sweet story here. There was a ashram and the Guru had quite a few number of devotees. So once one of the devotees says, you are more fond of one devotee say Ram, let's just give a name for the story's sake. So they all said, you are, sir, you are, Guruji, you are very fond of this one devotee Ram and you like him more than you love us. So you love him more than you love us and we feel very jealous about it. So he says, no, I love all of you equally. But of course there is something in him which takes my attention. So he says, so they say, you tell us also what it is, then we'll try to be like him. So he says, all right, first I'll give you an example why this is so. And he calls the devotee, he says, Ram, I want you to make a sweet pudding for all of them, so we can distribute it amongst them as prasad. Prasad is something which is normally offered when you go to the ashram and you are leaving, or a temple and you are leaving. They give you something which is offered to God and returned back to you in the form of some sweets. So you feel that you are blessed. So he says, go and prepare some sweets. And he says, then listen to me. In that I want you to put semolina and then milk, and say 2 cups of semolina, 2 cups of milk and 2 cups of salt. And he says, go. Now when he goes away, everybody around says, hey, he's going to offer us something sweet, but instead of sugar probably, Guru has probably forgotten to say sugar and has said salt. But they thought that since he's a old devotee of the ashram, I'm sure he will understand and he'll do the rightful. Man comes back and he brings, Ram comes back with the semolina prepared with the milk and salt in it. So it turns out to be a very useless dish. Now when he comes back, everybody says, Guru probably is grown old now, so he might have accidentally said salt, and he probably must have meant to say sugar. but this fellow is a young boy, he should have understood. He was told that it is for a sweet dish to be prepared. He should have understood that it was not salt, it should have been sugar. But when he comes back, so the Guru tells, they all say that he should have understood. So he said, no, this is what I want to tell you. So he is so attuned to whatever my instructions are that he obeys without wanting to even ask me or challenge me or bring doubts before me. And that is the only reason. Now, does it mean that our journey should be done in a wrong manner? This is just a joke I told you, but along with it you must realize this Sadguru on spiritual journey works through consciousness. Now sometimes, not sometimes, forever, ever, consciousness can always only tempt you to do what is right and remind you that what you are doing, if it is wrong, consciousness reminds you that it is wrong and it tells you what is right. Normally every act you do, there is a dilemma, whether you should do or not do. Do what is right, because consciousness will only keep on telling you what is right. It doesn't tell you to use salt where sugar is needed. So consciousness is actually, your inner voice is your guru. Now the day you start living by this inner voice, your journey, you become an ideal, you become an ideal devotee, a follower. You must realize that you have to live by your consciousness. The moment your consciousness tells, I'll give you an example of right today. I normally start my day with a cup of tea. Today gas is over, and because the electricity is gone, this is on inverter, and inverter is not connected to power point. So therefore I cannot heat the electric kettle with water. So I am now working without tea. I thought I'll go back and sleep. My consciousness said, no, tea should not be the reason. So not working, not meditating, not doing spiritual sadhana. So this is my spiritual sadhana. So then of course, well, here I am. So the consciousness, if you learn to live by consciousness, then that becomes your spiritual journey. And definitely it's going to take you to the enlightened state. Now this is the ideal guru. This is the description of the ideal guru. I'll give you a very beautiful example. Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya is the most prominent philosopher of Indian philosophy, and he is a philosopher of Vedanta. And in his group of disciples, a fraud disciple gets into it. He's sort like he's actually like a dacoit, and his intentions are to kill Shankaracharya. He believes in sacrificing a holy man at the feet of his goddess, the ghostly goddess, whoever she is, and he wants to sacrifice a very a spiritually attuned person. So he thinks he should be able to kill Shankaracharya. So he gets into the group of Shankaracharya's followers, and now he wants to try and find a reason to kill him. Now, and of course Shankaracharya might have been aware of it, but he doesn't show about that he's aware of this. And he plays the role. He continues to play the game. So one fine morning, early morning, this dacoit gets up and he tells Shankaracharya ji, he says, actually I'm here. I want to sacrifice you, sir, to my goddess, because after that I am going to get all the treasures and the wealth of the world, says she. So that is why I have joined your batch. So he says, fair enough, if it's going to liberate you and give you your needful, I don't mind. He says, I'll come. So he takes him into the deeper forest, and the dacoit is sharpening his blade and all, and he's wanting to kill Shankaracharya just sits for meditation. He says, you go ahead, you do what you want. He closes his eyes and he says, you want to kill me, you can, it's up to you. Closes his eyes and sits. Now see how beautiful this is. His most favorite disciple, who is in that group who are all still sleeping, he is woken up. The favorite disciple is woken up. And he looks around, he says, where's the master? So somehow an instinct tells him, now this is intuition, the instinct tells him, go after the master. So he comes after the master and he sees this dacoit is trying to kill the master. It is so sad, he acquires almost the strength of a lion. He develops in him in that very moment, due to anger, maybe due to whatever it is, the energy of a lion, and he destroys. Of course, he kills the dacoit and saves his master. Now, all this when you hear, you realize it, that there is that inner cause, the cause of the person's life is protected. By nature it is protected. If you are destined to do something, and if it is a right thing, nature will go all out to protect you. So it's a very beautiful journey. So when you are moving on towards light and you are willing to live by your consciousness, nature is willing to support and go all the way to protect you. So this is a very beautiful way of living. Live by your consciousness. The moment the consciousnness says what you are doing is wrong, please drop it. Please drop it. Because I have talked about some 7 powers a few days back. Try and trace it in my earlier videos, otherwise we'll repeat it again. Now, what if the Guru disowns you? Now, of course, no Guru disowns his devotee. No Guru disowns devotee. But suppose temporarily Guru asks you, it might be to test your loyalty. It might be to test how angry you can become. Because ultimately the science which is going to be revealed to you, the knowledge which is going to be revealed to the devotee is a powerful knowledge. If the devotee decides to misuse, he can create havoc in the world. So he has to be totally answerable to Guru. If he can disobey a Guru, the knowledge imparted by Guru can make him a monster. I will give you a beautiful example here. There was an Asur. He was Asur. He is considered to be a demon. Giants we used to call them. So an Asur is an evil soul. But when they do austerities and all, they still have the right to seek the blessings of the Lord if they do austerities, because it is the law of karma. So if you are doing austerities and penances, then you are bound to receive the grace of the Lord. So this Asur, his name is Bhasmasur. And he keeps praying hard for the blessings of Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva appears and he says, my God, he says, you have really worked very hard. And he appreciates it, because normally austerities is not a cup of tea of a very cruel mentality. It is a person who is normally by nature soft, gentle, knowledgeable, and some personality like this, that for him to want to get the blessings of God and all. So the journey is of a different mentality. But here when the Asur, who is actually wanting to destroy the world and to enjoy the world and all, so he might not have the discipline enough to sit for an austerity. But since he still works on it, so Lord Shiva is pleased with him and he says, what is it you want? So this fellow, Bhasmasur, says, I want on whosoever's head I keep my hand, he should be burnt to ashes. Now, what a boon. I mean, if you have to ask for a boon, at least think what you are asking for. But he wanted that, wanting to have that authority on the mankind. So, and Lord Shiva, because he has achieved that austerity, he happens to say, okay, I bless you. And the moment he says, I bless you, Bhasmasur is sure that he's developed that power. Now he wants to confirm that he's got the power. And then he runs after and he goes to Lord Shiva. He says, I would like to try it on you, sir, first. Now Lord Shiva, obviously it's his own boon he's given. Now if that Bhasmasur is going to keep his hand on the head of Lord Shiva will turn into ashes. Of course, this is just a mythological story, but the moral behind is different. So then Lord Shiva starts disappearing. So wherever Bhasmasur goes to keep his hand, Lord Shiva vanishes from there. Finally, in this panic-stricken state, he goes to Lord Vishnu and he says, please do something about it. I have been very naive about giving a boon to one of the Asurs, and now he is after me and he wants to destroy me, so please help me. So it is so said that Lord Vishnu dresses up as a beautiful maiden, a lady, and because Asurs are men of women and wine, so he dresses up as a beautiful woman and appears before Bhasmasur. So Bhasmasur looks at her and he is enthralled by her beauty, and he approaches her. He said, I would like to marry you. So the goddess is, it's Lord Vishnu. So in the form of goddess, she says, why not? I'll be honored to marry you, but there is a condition you have to fulfill. You have to prove that you are a better dancer than me. So he says, why not? Because Asurs were given gifts. They were gifted people. They were men of charm and men of strength, but they were cruel men. I mean, they were cruel people. But anyway, they had their so he starts dancing with her, and this is called Mohini. So she dances, and she too dances beautifully. And while dancing, she takes a pose where she keeps her own hand on her own head, and he is supposed to imitate her. So he too keeps his own hand on his own head, and he gets burnt away. Now this is this story which tells you. So when you do your spiritual journey, Guru needs to impart knowledge. This knowledge can make you a monster if you are not answerable to anybody. So it can become a very difficult, because you definitely tend to develop and many powers which are a little above normal, and you may fall into situations, get trapped into situations where you may be tempted to misuse them. So you have to be very careful. So the ideal Guru has to listen to his inner voice or his Guru. There is no other way. If he wants to reach enlightened state, people cannot take chances with people. Gurus cannot take chances and hand over knowledge which can be dangerous for society. We have examples where the interpretations of the holy texts is not being done rightly, and therefore there are monsters growing out of this. So you have to be very careful what sort of message a master is transmitting to the young minds. So you have to understand, what if Guru disowns you? So Guru never disowns you. He may test your loyalty. Sometimes he will ask you to stay away, and he may want to teach you something. He may want to train you with something. And another beautiful story I would like to tell you. There are two groups, they meet each other. One group is a follower of one Guru, and the other group is a follower of another Guru. Now these two groups, the kids, they get together and then they decide to tell each other who's their Guru and how he is better than the other. Of course, it's amongst children, so they end up into argument. And one of the group has got a good orator. So he happens to finally convince that his guru is better than the other group's guru. And the other group feels very sad about it, and they leave. They are disheartened about it. They are not able to convince that their guru is beautiful or their guru is powerful. And they go very sad. And this boy comes to his own ashram, and now he feels guru is going to pat his back and tell him, my God, you proved that I am good, so you are going to be my heir, next one to me, after me. You are going to take up the chair. And but the moment he comes, Guru says, keep him out of my ashram. Keep this boy out of my ashram. The boy wonders what happened. 3 days he is not allowed to enter the ashram. Finally he breaks down. He comes and he says, forgive me if I have done something wrong, and please point out what is it, what wrong have I done? So he says, how dare you make the other children feel that their guru is not smart enough? He says, go straight back to that ashram, apologize to the guru and to the devotees, and then alone you can enter my ashram. Now this is the voice of consciousness. The voice of consciousness and the voice of guru, external guru and internal consciousness, they don't differ. They don't differ. You have to understand the inner voice which tells you what is right from wrong and stops you from doing wrong. The same message will be given to you by your guru who is externally there in your life. Your desire is different and your consciousness is different, and your guru's voice, external guru's voice, is equal to the inner Sadguru's inner promptings, a conscious voice. So remember, a guru he will never disown you. He will want to try out and see whether you are sincere, you are obedient, you are loyal, because he is going to hand over something very powerful to you. You have to understand that. Now they ask, do you acquire knowledge by reading scriptures? There are many who say, is it okay if we don't have a guru? Is it okay if we understand, we are willing to accept? I mean, we would like to study on our own and study the scriptures. Just as you need an insight. Now, there is one teacher who is explaining all the students in the class, a plus b into a minus b, a square minus b square, or whatever the formula is. But out of, say, 50 students, 5 will understand, the rest of them will wonder, how is it? We don't know how, or they may not be equally sharp. Similarly, we all have an insight, but it may not be as sharp as it is needed to be when it comes to study of scriptures. It's a responsibility of the masters of the scriptures not to communicate what could be distorted by the devotee. He has to make it very clear that scripture will only teach you good things. Scriptures, like doctors, you go to medical hospitals, you go to a medical course and you are becoming a doctor. They give you knife, yes, but is it to kill somebody? They do it so you can learn how to operate on a person to save his life. No scriptures will tell you that use your weapons to kill somebody. No scriptures will tell. People ask me, Krishna was on the battlefield. I said, yes, but Krishna was on the side of the man who did not want the war. He could have conveniently chosen Duryodhana, who wanted the war. He just wanted to make the resistance very correct. He wanted to give a reply to the warriors, to the cruel kings, in the correct manner. So this is defending and killing and attacking. There are two different motives. There are two different motives. The doctor has a knife. You are given the knife in the hand, but it is not to kill a person. It is done to save a person. So the reading of scriptures, for understanding of scriptures, read you do, but for understanding of the scriptures, you need to have a conscious mind, a very powerfully, consciously attuned mind. Or it can be distorted, and you knowing the scriptures with a distorted understanding, you can become a danger to the society. That cannot be permitted. That cannot be permitted. So insight is needed, and there is another place in our human being which is called as Vidyasthan. It is the source of knowledge which is within you. We call her Kundalini, but even if you consider it as a place, let's start, because thoughts come from within. So obviously there is a storehouse of thoughts. Now this, we need to reach that storehouse. We need to reach that storehouse which is within us. Just as you go to the storehouse in your house for ration, if there is, you open the store that where you store the rations. If you want to take a little bit of say rice or something and to cook, and then when you open the store and you take it out. Similarly, you need to go deep within you and pull out the knowledge which is required for you to deal with the situations outside. And this source of knowledge is within you. It is within you. This is known as Vidyasthan. We need to reach it. We need to reach it. And this is this place which is actually the place of universal consciousness, because it has got the complete element of knowledge in it. This is where my workshop Kundalini Yoga is coming up. It is taking a very powerful workshop. It's becoming powerful. We are being led to various powers of Lord, the Goddess, as well as the mortal human being. So those who are interested in doing the Kundalini Yoga workshop with me, again I am telling you all, send me your details and your details of your number, your name, and your desire to be enrolled. On 15th July, I might start the next one. Workshop, we managed to complete one successfully. It's a certificate program. It is a certificate program on Kundalini Yoga, and you can enroll by sending the details of your phone number and your name through WhatsApp on number. No calls please. You will have to just send me the details and leave me to contact you. Number is 9511602400. This is Swamy Radhikananda from Pune.